right. Oh, let me do my clap. And clap. It's like my hand wasn't even on camera. But we're here. Hello once again. This is the ATP Podcast with your boy Jay and Mark Figueroa on YouTube, on Spotify, on anywhere that you can listen to tennis news and talk with slightly better lighting. We've optimized our AI. He's working better than ever. And this is episode 184? Yeah?
I think so.
Okay, how are you doing, AI? You're supposed to know your AI. What's going on?
Faith PT in the building. Everything is going well. A lot of news to cover. Obviously, Madrid is still going on.
Yeah.
So, good tournament thus far. So, we're going to cover that. And a very interesting topic.
Uh-oh. Where do we start? Where do we start today?
Let's start with that topic. So, first off, Aryna Sabalenka is traveling with somebody new in her box. Now, this person is the co-founder, or founder, of Oakberry. His name is Georgios Frangulis.
For our fans who don't know what Oakberry is, you want to inform them a little bit? Do you know anything?
Yeah, it's like acai bowl.
Okay, I don't think I knew that.
You want to add something more than that?
No, you educated me just now. So.
Oh, okay. Dude, I thought you were going to educate me.
I wish I could.
You
How can I educate the AI?
I was about to say that you failed educating the AI. But he's traveling in the box with Sabalenka. This company is also backing Sabalenka. It's a sponsor.
Interesting.
But here's the news. So it's rumored that they've been dating each other since January.
Interesting.
Yes. So, as a matter of fact, a fan tried to confirm that. So she ended up getting a hold of the wife and this guy's wife and saying, do you know that your husband is dating so-and-so? And then she was all, oh, I didn't know that, but I'm getting a divorce now. Thank you.
Wow.
So this is the timeline's a little trippy here because I believe she was still quote unquote dating the NHL player, but here she was being seen on Twitter with or X with this guy.
Interesting. So turmoil is being created between romantic partners, and Sabalenka's caught in some type of love square triangle.
Correct.
Oh wow. Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Do you think that this would speak to a little bit of the turbulence in her first quarter of the year season results?
After the Australian Open, she's had a struggle.
Yeah.
She's lost a couple matches. She lost early in Stuttgart. She lost early in Miami. So it is possible that it could have been a distraction. So, yeah, it's hard to say, really.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm a big Sabalenka fan, so I'd like to hope the best. I'm going to be optimistic here and say, hey, she did just have a big win today.
She did.
And I hope things are getting into a place of comfort for all parties involved. And yeah, these are tricky topics for me to discuss. They're a little odd. Sabalenka, I wish you the best, and I hope you get a lot of acai bowls in your near future.
Yes, it is uncomfortable to bring up, but yeah, I mean, she's being ridiculed, breaking a marriage, quote unquote. But yeah, it's uncomfortable. But what really is the topic here is obviously we're going to go to the whole being a role model. Do you think that she's lost credibility right now?
Definitely. There's no way around it. She went about this probably the wrong way for people who look up to her. And we'll see how things play out down the road. Obviously, all of this is rumors and speculation, right? It's alleged.
Well, the guy is in this guy is in the box currently in Madrid. He is there. The rumor was, were they dating in January?
Okay. Well,
when she was dating the NHL player supposedly prior to the Australian Open. That's the rumor.
yeah. Well, no matter what, this is a bad look. This is a bad look for sure. But I think that the NHL part is a gray area, but it sounds like her ending a marriage is black and white.
Yes.
And that part is bad. They
saw her kissing him in Madrid.
Yeah. So the marriage part is in black and white.
Yes.
I hope the gray area stays gray.
Yes, exactly. So now moving on to the tennis aspect. Last week there was a comment on Iga saying that it was her, Sabalenka, and Rybakina as the big three.
Yeah.
Well, Sabalenka said, I don't think I fit in at that moment. This is before getting to the finals of Madrid. She said, I don't think I fit in right now in that discussion. I haven't been playing well, as we just stated, and I feel that Rybakina and Iga are playing much better. What are your thoughts on that statement?
It's a funny statement because it's not her saying, yes, Coco deserves my spot. It's her saying it's a big two, which is still excluding Coco Gauff from the conversation. And Sabalenka just being a typical athlete, vocalizing some potential insecurities, showing that she's unhappy with her results as of late. But being a big three or a big four or a big two, it's not about what you've done lately. It's about what you've done in the big picture.
Right.
And Sabalenka in the big picture is a great athlete and a leader on the tour. So I get where she's coming from. From a small localized aspect, she's like, I don't feel like big three. They're outplaying me right now. But as we both know now, today, she still shut up today and took out Rybakina. She's in a Madrid final, and we expect her to have a good year.
So now talking to the tennis now, she's had a nice run here. She ended Collins's 15-game win streak. She beat Andreeva. She now beat Rybakina, who she has a really good record against. She actually lost the first set and found her groove back to get back into the match. Rybakina, although she hasn't won a slam, there's only one that's played, but she's to me more consistent than Sabalenka.
Rybakina has a Wimbledon.
Yes, I'm talking about this year.
Oh, yeah.
This year. She's more consistent this year.
Yeah,
although
agreed.
she didn't win the Australian Open.
Yeah.
And so that's a big win for Sabalenka.
Yeah.
Especially with Rybakina beating Iga last tournament in Stuttgart.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Do you think Sabalenka can take out Iga in the final?
I don't think clay is where Sabalenka bests Iga. I think it's the well, here's the thing though. Madrid is the clay event where you might be able to hit through someone.
Right.
So this is going to be interesting because between me and you, if Iga wins this, I'm writing her off as the French Open champion. If she can take out Sabalenka at Madrid, who's stopping her at the French? That's kind of where my mindset is. But 1,000%, I do think that Sabalenka has a chance at Madrid specifically because of the conditions. So this is going to be fun to see. And Rybakina is a brand new threat on clay. This is new to everyone.
Right.
So is the Rybakina win for Sabalenka as big as we think it is? I don't think so. But is it a huge opportunity to build confidence? Yes. And I think it's going to be the difference maker in this final.
Andy Roddick said something along the lines of Rybakina has no fear against Iga on this surface, and I would pick her to beat her if they were to play. So that is pretty big. If Sabalenka beats Iga in Madrid, that's two players now that would have her number on clay.
Yeah.
And that could be a lot of mental.
Yeah, that's a huge mental shift on the tour.
Right. So now going on a little bit more about Sabalenka, as I stated last week, she says that she prefers to watch men over the women because it's more tactical.
Yeah.
Coco made a statement of, I prefer to watch more of the WTA, but the only people that I did watch was the big three and a big surprise, Del Potro. Are you shocked that Coco only watched the big three and Del Potro?
From the ATP?
Yes. Those were the only matches she'd like to see when they played whoever.
From a younger age, I would believe that. I don't truly believe that at this state in her career. I think that she probably watches American tennis. I would say she probably watches American tennis now, and maybe what's left of the big three as well. But I 100% believe her when she says prior in her teenage years, her childhood years, she was just a big three watcher. And I think that makes sense for a lot of people who are spending so much time on court, you know? And what more do you need to see if you're Coco Gauff?
Right.
You know, so yeah. I do find it interesting that she watched more WTA, and I would love to hear her favorite players on the WTA tour. That would be very interesting to see. Obviously, we know the Serena and Venuses, and I'm not sure who else she said in the past, but she's definitely got some idols she's vocalized.
Yes, and again, as I stated last week, she also said that she wants to win the French Open, and she admitted that when she went into the match against Iga in the final, she was already defeated prior to even going out there.
Yeah.
She said she was anxious, she couldn't shake it off, and that she's getting better at it, and she's becoming a new person.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think the U.S. Open has unlocked something within Coco Gauff, and I think that she knows how to show up on the big stage and give us her best version of herself now. So I think that we should be very worried if Coco Gauff has an opportunity to attack on a big stage now. She's got a taste of winning on a big stage, and that gets rid of a lot of the fears and the anxiety, because she's lost on the big stage and she's won on the big stage. There's not anything else left to actually fear, and the other nerves you never actually get rid of. Those nerves will always be there, which is just pre-game, pre-match nerves. So, yeah, I think that she's creeping up on, maybe we see a early Iga loss, and then Coco's the favorite at the French after that.
Coco lost to Madison Keys. She hasn't been playing that much. She said that she wants to win the French Open. Madison hasn't really been playing, though. So do you think that was a bad loss for her?
It's a concerning loss, but it's not a groundbreaking loss, right? This is Madrid. And Madison Keys is a good player. You know, Madison Keys is a good tennis player, and she was hot. So I'm not too worried, but I do think that Coco needs to tighten it up and find true momentum going into the French for her own mentality. I do think she needs at least one really good win before she steps into the French Open draw and tries to make a big run.
Okay. Moving on to Raducanu, she suffered one of her most one-sided losses when she got the wild card into Madrid. She lost pretty bad, but she said that the reason why is because she was exhausted. She played the Billie Jean King Cup. Then she played the Porsche tournament in Stuttgart, where she made a decent run. And she just said, I really had nothing left. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Emma Raducanu, for me, I understand the heavy schedule. And let me also say that we haven't seen Emma Raducanu. Have we ever seen her play a full calendar year schedule? I don't know if we've ever seen it. And I don't know if her body and her cardio and all her recovery ability, I don't know if they're up to par with what it takes to play week after week after week after week. I don't know if we've ever seen her play an 11-month season or a 10-month season. So I believe her. I believe that she was out there and she was exhausted mentally and physically. And I think maybe the mental part was even greater, you know, and clay is not her best surface, you know, so I don't think she's stressed over it. And I think there's some credibility to what she's saying. I think that Emma will show up to the French. I don't expect much. And I think that we need to really look to see what her body does during the hardcourt season.
There are some really interesting losses in Madrid. On the men's side, you had Tsitsipas losing. You had Casper Ruud losing to Ali Asim, who has been struggling. We'll get to him later. So it could be the scheduling. As a matter of fact, Rybakina, before the Sabalenka match, said the scheduling is hard and the WTA expects us to play all the time, and it's not there. She said, when it's the Miami and the Indian Wells tournaments back to back, okay, that's fine. But then when you're expecting us to play 2-3 Masters 1000s prior to the French Open, which is a slam. That is hard.
Yeah.
She said she'd rather be able to pick, but when you're defending so many points and you're at the top of the game, it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but a lot of athletes have gone out of their way to kind of get hurt during the clay season, take time off during the clay season because of how intense it can be. I mean, the most famous one is Federer. How many times did he play through the clay swing?
Yeah.
You know, he might play a 500 or 1,000, play a few tune-ups, and then he disappears. And then we see that a lot with the Nick Kyrgioses and some of the people who they know they're not going to get the big points there, so they don't waste their energy or body on it. And I think that some of these players should take notes. I think that having a little hurt wrist during Madrid would benefit Tsitsipas. You know, give him an opportunity to show up to the next event full tank, fully rested, and play at a higher level. So I think 3 consecutive clay events in a row on the most taxing surface on the body is a lot. I agree with Rybakina.
Yes, so that could be a reason why Raducanu did so poorly.
Yeah.
But again, same thing with Casper Ruud, who's made 2 finals, Tsitsipas. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Moving on to Azarenka. With her victory over Tatiana Maria in the second round, she now has 200 wins at the WTA 1000 events.
Oh, wow. Just 1,000 events.
Yes. She is the only player in WTA history with that many wins at the 1000 level.
That's a lot.
What are your thoughts on Azarenka?
Longevity, consistency, and I'm flat out impressed. I almost thought you were going to say just 200 wins in general.
No.
And I was going to go, wow, that's kind of low. But 200 at 1,000 events, that's very impressive. So congrats to her for that. And I think that speaks to her legacy for sure.
I didn't think that she had that many in 1,000 events. So
I didn't either.
That is very impressive. So Congratulations to her. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a funny story. We've been following it. Wozniacki has criticized Halep a lot for the doping incident and how dare you give her wild cards. Well, since she made that comment, Wozniacki hasn't won. So karma's coming around and getting her.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that irony?
I don't want to make too many jokes, so I'm going to wish her the best and be glad she's on the tour, because I could crack a lot of jokes, but we're not just audio anymore. We have a YouTube base. I don't want to tick people off as much as I already do. So I'm not mad at her for her nitpicking at Simona Halep, but give it a rest and move on and focus on your journey. Halep is not necessarily making a ton of noise, you know, so I think that I hope she starts winning again and she can stop thinking about other players and think about herself.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
And real quick on Rybakina as well, she has won 14 matches straight on clay. Mm-hmm. So until today when she lost to Sabalenka.
Yeah.
So that's a very good stat as well.
Good old Rybakina.
Yeah, so now we're going to get to Danielle Collins, one of the hottest players on tour. As I stated earlier, she lost to Sabalenka, but it was a war.
Yeah.
But the thing that's funny in this story is in the Sabalenka match, there was a heckler in the crowd. Collins did not take well to it. She told her, "You come out here and play. Have a little more respect." And then the guy just silence. And everybody was clapping at her for going off on this guy and everything. What are your thoughts on Danielle Collins?
I love the spiciness of Danielle Collins. One of my new favorite players on the tour. And she's been spicy like this forever. You know, this is not new. She's not doing anything different. She's just getting great results. She's winning. And she is a personality I genuinely enjoy on the tour. And I don't know if everyone's going to like it. And she's going to have a spotlight on her now. And I am interested to see how polarizing she is with fans. Will people love her? Will people hate her? I don't know. But she's having a great season. And I almost want to say that this loss to Sabalenka was a blessing for her. It's an opportunity to rest. It's a loss that doesn't shake your confidence. And it's an opportunity for her to prepare for the next events and make some more noise.
Collins is the oldest player to win 15 consecutive tour level matches since Serena did it in 2015.
Wow.
She's the hottest player on tour. Do you give her a chance at Roland Garros?
No, I don't. I don't see her taking out Sabalenka or Iga on the clay, but I would not be surprised if she made it to the semis or the quarters. I wouldn't be surprised. So, yeah, Danielle Collins, I just can't imagine her taking out Iga on the clay. If somehow her draw, she gets a Casper Ruud draw, anything's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Danielle Collins actually had a really good game plan against Sabalenka. Mm-hmm. She was serving body a lot at her, and she couldn't get out of the way. Mm-hmm. Once Sabalenka got out of the way, then it became first strike tennis, and Sabalenka was getting the better of it. Mm-hmm. But I think I would give her a chance to make a deep run. I think she has the ball striking ability, and she can hit through people on clay. So I think that she could.
Yeah, I agree. I think a deep run's possible.
All right, moving on to the men. Now, before I give the stats, Darwin Blanche was just destroyed on Twitter and all the social medias. Once he lost 1-0 to Nadal, you saw how he shook hands. He shook the hand as if he was a WTA player. Just boom, walk away. Everybody got on him saying, "Boy, kid, this is Nadal.
Yeah.
Did you really expect to beat this guy? And who do you think you are?" Mm-hmm. Type thing. Mm-hmm. And you're never gonna play this legend on his best surface again.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
But it was as if Darwin Blanche thought that he could really beat Nadal. Mm-hmm. Are you mad at him?
No, I think it was less about him thinking he should have beaten Nadal and more about the embarrassing scoreline. That's what I think it really was. I genuinely don't think he walked out there thinking, I'm going to take this guy out. I think he walked out there and went, I'm going to put on a show and everyone's watching. And he got bagel and breadsticked. That's humiliating. And not only that, that's humiliating to shake the hand of that man that you have so much respect for, that you feel like you didn't give him what you wanted to show him you could do. He didn't put on the performance that he may have thought would get the respect of Rafael Nadal. And I think the handshake didn't help, but I understand where it came from. That's the best way to put it. I don't think it was what the internet's painting it to be.
Okay.
I think it's an embarrassing moment. It's a little humiliating. I think he wanted to put on a performance that he could be more proud of afterwards, even with the loss. And I heard some of his pre-interviews of the match and some of his post-interviews, and he did really show respect to Nadal prior and after.
Right.
And I think he was really there to just enjoy the moment, and I don't think he enjoyed it.
No. One of the comments was even, "You're not even ranked inside the top 1,000. What do you think you were going to do?" Mm-hmm. But as you said, I'll accept that view, which is he expected a better showing of himself.
Yeah.
But he's a great ball striker, but he's too flashy to me. Mm-hmm. When he got in a backhand exchange on Nadal, he tried to go around the backhand when it wasn't the right time to do so. Mm-hmm. So now he's hitting the ball short. He's getting jammed because the ball is coming this way.
Yeah.
He's getting jammed, and now Nadal has a down the line, inside in backhand open court.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take that much of a risk, you need to do a lot with that ball.
Yeah.
And Darwin Blanche didn't do it. He should have just stayed in that routine, backhand to backhand, until you get the short ball, and then you take the risk that's not a big risk per se. And he just didn't play high IQ tennis that day. A lot of errors as well.
I mean, at his age, he's not going to. It's just the odds of someone his age playing high IQ tennis against an actual high IQ tennis legend.
Right.
He's a deer in headlights, man. There's just no way. I think that what happened to him was expected. The only reason the score wouldn't have been that is if Nadal's body didn't allow it to be.
Right.
That was the only thing saving him. So I think Darwin Blanche, 5 years from now, that match scoreline is flipped the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, not literally, but maybe he does get a set. Maybe he gets a set,
Yes, I can definitely see that. So now going to the facts, this is pretty cool. So again, Darwin Blanche is 16. Nadal is 37. Mm-hmm. This is the biggest gap of age in a Masters 1000 event in the history. Pretty cool stat.
That's crazy.
And now Andy Roddick, again, had some very interesting takes. He said that he doesn't feel that Darwin Blanche needs to play in the tour right now. He said that he needs to play more challengers, more juniors, get more acclimated to that, stay there for a little bit, and then once he sharpens the tools, then come up. But right now, it's not the right time. Do you agree with Andy Roddick?
Based on the showing we saw, I do agree with Andy Roddick. I think that Darwin Blanche just didn't show that he was prepared for the big stage. And, I mean, ultimately, let's try to recap these same moments from the past, right? How did Tiafoe look against Federer the first time? How did Carlos look against Nadal the very first time? And are these moments supposed to go this way? And are they really a reflection of how well that player can play on the tour? I don't think they are. You know, I think that they get that little brother syndrome and we get a lesser or a shadow version of the player that's out there playing this legend on the court. But 0-1, it's a little more than just a shadow syndrome.
Yes.
I might have to lean with Andy Roddick on this one and say it's too soon. I think that for his own longevity and his own long-term career, a little more challenger stuff would be a lot better.
Yes, just sharpen those tools.
Yeah.
Work on certain patterns, get better at it, and then he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
For sure. So moving on to Gasquet in Madrid, he got his 1,000 tour level match, which is a fourth amongst active players. What are your thoughts on Richard Gasquet?
Still hanging in there, still banging that ball. How much more time do you think Gasquet has on the tour?
Not much. Yes, I think maybe a year, maybe.
Okay, yeah. I think that he's out there. He got a title last year, or was that this year?
It was last year in Auckland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he got a title. So you got to ask yourself, okay, if this guy can still get a title once per year, he's technically more relevant than a lot of players on the tour.
If he does that, then he's yes, exactly. He can stay longer for sure. Not that he needs to listen, but it's more he will be in the relevant side, top 70.
Sense.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
It makes sense if you're collecting even a 250 event trophy.
Right.
It makes sense to stay on the tour and enjoy yourself because you're not getting bumped out the first round all over the place. So, yeah, I would love to see what's next for Gasquet. And I'm not going to start talking about his final day too much until he goes a year without a trophy.
Right. I agree. So moving on to the most clay court wins since 2000, you have Casper Ruud with 103. A lot of 250s for sure. You have Stefanos with 78.
Ooh.
Alcaraz 66.
That's crazy for how young he is.
Ramos Vignolas 59.
Okay.
Novak Djokovic 58.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on that list?
Ramos Vignola is surprising me a little bit. Casper Ruud not surprising me whatsoever. That guy plays everything with clay all year. If there's a clay event on the planet, Casper Ruud's flying there.
Right.
So that one doesn't surprise me at all, and I'm not mad at it. I support it. That's how he stayed in the top 10 so long, is making sure he gets his points where he knows he's going to get his points. Tsitsipas, underrated clay court player.
Yes.
Not surprised there. Alcaraz, elite clay court player, and Djokovic probably is in this statistic for every surface there is, and so I expect to hear him in every statistic. So, yeah, that's a good list. But Ramos, that's a surprise for me.
Exactly, I agree. So again, with how much Casper Ruud has played, Stefanos has played, making deep runs, I guess this isn't very shocking. But as you know, Casper Ruud did lose to Aliassime, who has been struggling. Tsitsipas lost to a qualifier, Thiago Monteiro.
Interesting.
Who beat him in maybe the first or second round. What are your thoughts on that?
Tsitsipas might be a little fatigued. He's been playing good tennis. He made 2 consecutive finals with Casper Ruud.
Right.
So I'm not worried about him at all. To me, this is just a rest thing, and expect him to show up to the French Open with the intentions of winning the entire event.
Right.
So don't worry about Tsitsipas at all. He's good. And who was the other question?
Ruud losing to Aliassime.
I didn't watch the match. And I'm so mad I didn't watch
little
it.
brother. I thought you would have seen it.
It's my little brother, and it's my... I don't know what Casper Ruud is to me, but we're working on our relationship at this moment in time. Can you tell me anything about this match? I didn't see it.
Felix played well. He had nice patterns. He threw Casper off. He was missing a lot.
Yeah.
Casper was missing a lot, but Aliassime was making a nice first serve percentage.
Okay, that helps a lot.
And his second serve actually wasn't super attackable.
Really?
Yeah, so that was good as well. And he just kept constant pressure, just flat down the middle. And he was constantly all over Casper Ruud.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dig into a match I didn't watch too much, but obviously Felix's greatest weakness in his game is his second serve is a slice.
Right, no kick there.
Yeah, and so when his first serve percentage dips and he's leaning in on a serve that is just a slice, he's compromised. You know, he has to work twice as hard. So it's really cool to hear that he won, and obviously you saying he got a lot of first serves in play is a difference maker. So
right.
I'm going to have to watch that recap, and I want to check that match out.
Yes, I'll give a little bit more stats on that match, but getting on to the funny part, Rune has been having some funny moments lately. So in the second set against the Argentinian player prior to him losing to Griekspoor, he got bothered by the digital advertising boards. The ones that are right there by the, yes. He was all, it's too bright. Turn it off. The umpire said, we called somebody. You still need to play on. We're trying to fix it. It's bothering me. What are your thoughts on Holger Rune? He ended up winning that match, though.
That helps. That's going to help with what I'm about to say. Because when you feel high anxiety, high pressure, you're in tough situations, everything ticks at you more than usual. You know, your injuries hurt more. The lights are more annoying. People's voices seem louder. When you're not in a comfort and confident situation, everything is just testing. Everything bugs you more. And I think that he's in a very uncomfortable, irritable, anxious position on the tour right now. And he needs to find a way to walk onto the court with an elevated, pure mind and stay there through the entire match. And I think that's literally the sole thing separating him from Sinner and Alcaraz is having a clear head. Because they go out there and Sinner is Mr. Stoic, fist pumps only, nothing else. Alcaraz is Mr. ha 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 ha, big smiles, always in a good mood, upbeat, aggressive. And we kind of see Holger in his own head a lot.
Yes.
You know, and he's kind of got the Andy Murray syndrome, which is looking at the box more than anyone else does, getting in his head on the down moments a lot, and then fist pumping not enough for my liking. So I think Holger's game is great. I think that it's something mental that he just needs to get intact with, and it seems like his team knows it.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see if they can figure out how to solve the puzzle. If he does, new big three.
Yeah, he's beaten Djokovic before on clay, so he could do it, but there's something funky going on there for sure.
There's something up here, man.
Yes,
because that advertisement thing,
yes.
Come on, man.
You've got to be kidding me. Everybody goes through that.
Yeah, everyone sees that. Your opponent sees the same thing you see. That's how the bills get paid.
Right.
What are we talking about here? You think tournaments are going to really appease you all the time?
Right.
Try that at the U.S. Open. See what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, again, he ended up winning that round, but in the next round, he lost to Tallon Griekspoor, who recorded his first top 10-20 win in the Masters 1000 level.
Okay. So, I like Griekspoor, so I'm not mad at that loss.
Yeah, so congratulations to him.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to the, to me, was a big story at Madrid, which was Cerundolo. He ended up losing to Claylor Fritz. We'll get to him in a little bit.
Let's go.
He said, this is Cerundolo. He said, it's been a tough year. The first 2 months were horrible for me. I'm really happy I could get this win. So he beat Tommy Paul.
Yeah, that was the Tommy Paul when he said that too.
Right, correctly.
Okay.
Correct, sorry. And he beats Zverev.
Big win.
Big win.
Big win in Madrid.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
What are your thoughts on Cerundolo?
I like Cerundolo. My actual first time exposure to Cerundolo was watching him in person play Felix at Indian Wells last year. Not this year, but last year. And he almost got him. And then the very next tournament in Miami, he took him out.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. And then he kind of did have a rough start this year. He kind of disappeared on us. So it's great to see that he's able to find his level again, because that Felix he beat was top 10 Felix. That was not quite in the slump Felix that he was taking out. So, yeah, I think that, hot take here, this is a little off topic, he might have been the start to the Felix slump back then. But he beating Zverev on clay in Madrid, to me, that's almost a premium setting for Zverev. So that's really impressive he did that. Tommy Paul's hot. Tommy Paul's playing good tennis. Great win there. I like what I'm seeing from
Cerundolo.
Yeah. Dark horse at the French.
I agree. He has a big win over Fritz last year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big win as well. So Cerundolo is the first Argentinian to make it to the quarters since Del Potro in 2012.
Ooh, that's a while back.
Yeah, so that's pretty big as well.
Oh, did you just say 2012? That's more than 10 years ago. I feel old.
Yes.
Wow.
But now going to something that's been, apparently it's a big problem, which is the streaming. So during the Cerundolo Tommy Paul match, it was at 3-2, but it was still showing 0-0. So there was no service up. And Ben Roethlisberger, who's a big time tennis analyst type, he said, at during the Osaka Svitolina match in Miami, it was the same thing. What are your thoughts on Tennis Channel with poor streaming?
It sounds like there's somebody who needs to be reorged out of the company. There's those things are inexcusable. You can't have those issues happen with professional sports programming. The scoreboard is the basic minimum. That's the bare minimum that needs to be working great. And it's someone not doing their job right. Bottom line, so they need to get that situated and sorted out, because, come on. That doesn't make sense for the scoreboard to be off on the screen or to not be working right on the screen. And isn't that what creates the narrative and drives us with the tension and the relief and the storyline of a match is the score?
Right.
How do we know that it's out and this is a high pressure point? How do we know these things without that? So they're shooting themselves in the foot by not having the scores on the screen, and not, whoever that is, get them out of there. Whoever's job that is, get them out. Yes,
I've heard a lot of things where this isn't the only time where they're already 4 games in and the Tennis Channel app the streaming hasn't showed games yet. So I've heard that from multiple people. And AI here is just happy to have a Dish Network or DirecTV, my apologies, to where I get it on Tennis Channel and I'm able to see it right then and there.
Yeah.
So that is pretty bad when today's society is all about streaming and you can't get the games right away.
Yeah.
So that is pretty bad.
Interesting.
Yes, but I'm sorry, I missaid the guy's name. It's Rothenberg. He's a big time tennis analyst. He's always making comments and stuff. So now going on to Claylor Fritz.
I love the name.
He said that on X most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get with the stats first. 250 career wins in Madrid. What are your thoughts on that?
Unsurprised. Taylor Fritz had what I would consider a slightly sluggish start to his career on the tour. And then he just kind of went into high gear. And he's been doing great. I'm a huge Taylor Fritz fan. I think he's my American number one.
He's earned it back.
Yeah. I feel that he's been that for the last year. No matter what the rankings say, he's just the guy that I don't think is streaky. I think he goes through spells that every pro on the tour goes through, which is, losing a few events here and there. But he just shows up every year somewhere. And he's been doing it since the Indian Wells win.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm all forward with Taylor Fritz. I like him. I think that he's got a type of game where the things you want to nitpick at aren't actually his weaknesses. I think his forehand's a little funky. He's so good at striking the ball. It's a good forehand. His backhand's a little odd. He's super consistent with it. And his serve is a rocket.
Yeah.
So if I had to model a player behind someone to emulate, would I pick Taylor Fritz? Never. But do I think that he's got the most complete game on the American side right now? Yeah, I do. I think he's the most complete player right now.
We spoke about, it was one of our snippets that Ben Shelton was the one. Mm-hmm. But no, it's a Claylor now for sure.
Claylor Fritz.
Claylor Fritz. Yes, he is the first American to reach the semifinals since this event wasn't on clay before, and this is the first time that an American has been in the semis since that time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes, so that is a very long time that there hasn't been an American in the semis at Madrid. I believe it was either 2009 or 2012 when it wasn't on clay.
Let me ask you some Taylor Fritz related questions here. Where do you rate Taylor Fritz in the universe of tennis right now in the rankings? Do you think he's a top 10 level player?
Right now on clay, he's definitely showing it. It is probably his weakest surface, so the fact that he's playing well on it, I believe it's good.
Okay. Do you think he's the actual number one American?
Right now, yes.
And do you think that's a good sign or bad sign for American tennis if he's our number one? What's your opinion?
As long as all of them feed off of each other and they're very close in the rankings, I don't think it's a huge problem. I think Ben Shelton, as soon as he fixes certain things, he'll be up there as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if we talk about ceiling, highest potential, Shelton still shows a higher ceiling.
Right.
But my personal opinion, and this is coming from a Taylor Fritz fan, is if he's our absolute number one in the world as an American tennis player, American tennis has a little bit of work to do if we want to break through into the top 5. We got some things missing. So shout out to Taylor Fritz. I am a big fan, but our number one player in the world to me is he's not showing signs of being able to cut into the top 5 deeply unless he can win a US Open.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And Fritz is enjoying a fairly decent level on clay this year. He made it to the final.
Opportunity for a lot of points, right?
Yes. He made it to the final at a 250 event in Munich. That's where a Struff won. But he made it. He's in the semifinal of a Masters 1000. And now the pressure is on.
Yeah.
Now the comparisons are coming out. Is he the one to win at the French Open? It hasn't been done since Andre in 1999.
Woo.
So the Americans are suffering on clay.
Yeah.
And prior to that, Courier won back-to-back Roland Garros.
That's crazy to even say out loud.
So the pressure is on for an American to have some sort of good result at Roland Garros. So again, we said Shelton, but it's Claylor the one.
No, he's not. Not for the French Open. I don't think he is, but I do like him on clay right now. So it's a start.
In 2022, he had a 50% win rate on clay, and now it's at close to 60%.
Nice.
So it's going up, and he even said that he's changing his game. He didn't really drop shot a lot, but he's starting to drop. He's trying to hit with top. If he has to hit a moon ball, he has to hit a moon ball. So he's making a lot of adjustments on clay.
I like that.
What are your thoughts on that comment?
IQ, making adjustments, making a lot of observations from players finding success on the tour and applying it to your game. I love that he's probably acknowledging the success of Alcaraz, who was hitting a few moonbally balls, even on hard courts.
Yes.
And also working the drop shot. Instead of focusing so much on the left and right part of the game, focus on the up and down part of the game. Because bringing players forward, going over players, keeping players back, all those things dynamically change the way you play on clay. So I love that he said that, and I think it's going to make a difference in his play, even on other surfaces.
Yes, I agree. I think that he has a decent chance fourth round at least.
Yeah.
With the way he's playing right now. So now going on to Ivanisevic. He said that he's just hanging back, that he will not coach in the summer. But when he does come back, it's going to be with a young ATP Tour level player. He doesn't know who yet, but it's going to be young. What are your thoughts on that?
Darwin Blanche, call him. That's me manifesting. I don't know who else I would send him to. Yeah, I'm not sure where else I'd want to see him go. If it's not Darwin Blanche, I'd like to see him float into the WTA. But that's just me.
Yes. And since we were on Americans, I'm going to go to Tiafoe real quick. Instead of playing in Italy, he's playing in the Challenger event, where there are 4 top 50 players in this Challenger event.
Why?
So you have, maybe they couldn't get into Italy.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is relevant. Tiafoe lost his mind. I've never seen him blow a fuse before. You know where he did it at? Last year. In Italy.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
He went crazy. I don't think he wants to play at that tournament.
Oh, that's a possibility.
I think I've never seen him actually lose his cool that way, but he did it in Italy last year. So that's probably why he's at the Challenger.
He is ranked 21. He was in the world right now. For a while, he was close to top 10.
Yeah.
He beat Nadal. He was supposed to be the one, but just losing to Ben Shelton a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's hurt his confidence. Maybe he wants to get it back a little bit. But what are your thoughts on him going down to a Challenger event and playing?
Yeah, I think this is strictly I don't want to play at that event move. I don't think that this is I don't want to lose more confidence. I don't want to lose again. I don't think it's any of those things. I think that Tiafoe is fed up with that event, and this is him striking back. He's 21 in the world. What other reason could it be? You know, he qualifies. He could easily just say, I want to play there and be in the main draw. So, yeah, this is definitely a conscious decision, and I think it's with intention that's unrelated to his confidence.
Okay. In this tournament, he's the number 1 player in the world in this event.
Yeah, the seeding.
The seeding. He will play either Fognini or Federico Coria in the second round.
That's a main draw right there.
Yes. Then you got
wow.
You got Taro Daniel. He's a decent player.
That's a good player.
He's there. Sonego.
That's a great
He's
clay
there.
court player.
Marian Fuskovic.
Jeez.
He's there.
All these guys are there.
So
do they all hate that tournament, or what's going on?
So these are big names playing in this Challenger tournament.
These are guys who can play on clay.
Yes.
We're talking about Fognini, who's beaten Nadal on clay. Fuskovic, who's an all-court player. All surfaces. He's decent on every surface. Korea, solid on clay. Like this is not going to be a walkover event for Tiafoe. So if he went there for confidence, he might lose more.
Yes, he went to the wrong place for sure.
Yeah, so
possibly.
This is not going to be a walkthrough event for him.
Yes. So today, Medvedev lost in a big way to gain into the record books. If he would have won today, he would have finally made the semifinals of all Masters 1000s.
Wow.
He would have been the number 3 player in the world, with Alcaraz being the defending champion and losing. Medvedev would have been 50 points ahead of Alcaraz. But he was injured. We don't know the severity of it yet. And he's the defending champion in Italy.
Oh.
So now he has 1,000 points to defend. So it went from bad to worse.
Yeah.
Are you concerned for Medvedev?
Yeah, I actually am. I really do hope he can. I don't expect him to go and win again, but I really do hope he's able to go in there and retain some of the points at least. So, prayers up for you, man, Medvedev. But don't rush into anything. If you need to rest so you can play well at the French, you're now a clay court specialist, so I'll hope for the best. But yeah, it's unfortunate. That would have been an awesome accomplishment.
He did now by making when he made it to the Madrid quarterfinal, he now reached all quarterfinals of the Masters 1000s. But yeah, this is rough for him seeding wise, and with the stretch that's coming up with the Olympics, Wimbledon, French Open, right there, it's going to be tough. So whatever is ailing him, hopefully he gets over quickly. And same thing with Alcaraz. He had a forearm. He has a forearm issue. He said, Courier said that the loss against Rublev wasn't a super big deal. It was more similar to Nadal, to where he's testing if he could play.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Courier?
I don't think Alcaraz went out there and went, this is just a test, and had a match like that. It was a close match. It was a good match. Let's give credit to Rublev, who served out of his mind and put on an incredible show, for sure. Do I think Alcaraz played his absolute highest level of tennis? No, I don't. But he played good tennis out there, and he lost to Rublev, who played great.
He did.
Rublev was in great form. And Rublev found a working strategy and did not deviate away from it. So I'm not going to play that whole, this was just a test and it worked. I'm not going to play that game. So shout out to Rublev. I'm not going to take anything away from his victory. And I think he needed this win.
Yes.
I think mentally he's going to be very at peace moving forward.
Going into this match after the Dubai debacle, he had lost 4 in a row. Mm-hmm. And now he's won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So, yes, he did have a good game plan against Alcaraz. Everybody knows that in order to beat him, you have to hit hard through him. Mm-hmm. And he got the job done.
If there's anyone who's going to hit hard through someone that's not Alcaraz, it's Rublev.
Right.
Yeah.
As far as...
Blah!
Exactly. As far as Alcaraz, again, I see it, why Courier said that. Mm-hmm. Because he has had the forearm issue. Mm-hmm. We want to see if it's okay for him to play. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it is a loss. You're right. He didn't go into it with, I'm playing my worst. Mm-hmm. But I can see what Courier meant for sure. Mm-hmm. Before I read some stuff on Alcaraz, I'll read it a little later. We're going to include Sinner. Sinner withdrew with a hip injury. So we have Medvedev, Alcaraz, Sinner, Djokovic is not playing at his highest. Mm-hmm. Nadal, is he even a contender?
Who knows? Right.
Wide open French Open. What are your thoughts on Sinner with the hip problem?
Look, I have 2 takes here. Take 1, this man has played a lot of tennis, and he's gone deep in almost every single event he's touched. He could have a hip issue, seriously. On the flip side, if his team is smart, this is an opportunity to take a break before a major, crazy schedule is coming up. And maybe he had a little ache in his hip, and they pulled him, you know?
Yes.
And he's going to get his rest, and then he's going to go into high gear because he knows this is a wide open French Open. And let's look at it from another optic. Imagine if Sinner started the year off with 2 slams. Imagine what that means if he's playing pretty decent on clay.
Yes.
Surprisingly. And like you said, we've got Nadal, who's at 50%. Djokovic, who's at 70%. Alcaraz is maybe 75%. I mean, who's going to stop him if we can get Sinner out there at 100%?
Yes.
Who's the favorite, really? So I get it. I totally get it, and I like it. I like the hip injury. I hope it is just a hip injury.
He is going to play in Italy. That's huge. He's playing in his home country.
Yeah.
So he has to save himself. And again, same thing as I just said earlier. It's a big road with a Roland Garros, Wimbledon, the Olympics. So he needs to save himself for sure. Now, hip injuries are normally from twisting too much and when you load a lot and pivoting a lot. So do you think that could be a problem as to why he has a hip injury?
I don't think he's got a severe hip injury. I think maybe he's got a little soreness. Maybe he's a little tired. I think there's fatigue involved. I'm going to be optimistic here. This is speculation completely, but I really do think that his team is being wise and smart in forcing him to rest.
Okay.
That's what
fair.
I think it is.
That's fair. So with what I just said, wide open French Open, who do you think? Do you think that these guys are going to find their way, or do you think a Zverev, a Tsitsipas, a Casper Ruud are going to step up and win it, or a dark horse?
I don't accept Casper Ruud as a candidate to win the French Open. I think Zverev's in line. I think he's next in line for a slam somewhere. I really like Zverev as a a 5-setter, big hitter, well-rounded, quality clay court player. I like him. Tsitsipas is going to go deep at the French. I just don't know if he's prepared to take out 2 top 5 players consecutively to do it. I don't know if he's there mentally. He's had some uncharacteristic losses right after 2 really good runs. So he's kind of in the air for me. I think he's capable of going to the semis for sure. I don't know if I see Tsitsipas taking out Djokovic, Sinner, like all these guys. Having to beat them all back to back is very difficult. So I don't put him in there, but I do think that there's a potential dark horse. And just to reiterate what you're saying, this is the most open French Open we have ever seen in the last 15 years.
Right. I agree with that statement 100%, especially with all these top favorites with injuries.
Yeah.
Who knows the severity of them? But yes, I definitely would put Tsitsipas up there. He knows how to make deep runs in the French Open.
Yeah.
Zverev, he proved that he could as well. Casper Ruud, I believe that he can as well. He's playing really good ball. So as long as he keeps it up, he'll be fine. So going on to the Alcaraz statements after the Rublev loss, he said that the Struff match took its toll on him and that he really didn't have a lot after that, that his level had completely dropped. He then said that the main thing is that I have been much weaker mentally than normal. I've become very complaining about not taking advantage of the opportunities. What are your thoughts on Alcaraz's statement saying that he's been weaker mentally?
I like the transparency. I like the honesty. For me, I think that when players vocalize things like that, it gives me confidence that they do intend to fix those things, and that's why they're exposing it to the public. But I don't like it right before the French. I don't want to hear that. As an Alcaraz fan, if you're a diehard, this is an awkward time for you.
Yes.
We've never seen this side of him. My confidence and my decision making, come on, man. Just fix these things and get to it. These are things you tell your team and your circle, and then you come out and give us your best level. I don't know if sitting with media and saying all these different things is doing you any service. But I hope this is a chess move.
Yes, I hope so too.
Because anything else is unideal.
Yes, I've been reading a lot of the social media responses, and everybody was just cracking on Alcaraz. They're saying, oh, okay, so you only play in places where you're the defending champion. That's why you went and make your announcement in Barcelona. That's why you went to Madrid. You didn't win Italy. That's where you lost to Marjan. You didn't win the French Open, so we won't see you against until Wimbledon, where he is the defending champion. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh my goodness, fans.
Yes, they're cruel.
Yeah,
vicious.
They are.
Yes. So now going to Nadal. Hot topic right now. After the Darwin Blanche victory, Carlos Moya made a bold statement. He said, Nadal has not been playing as much as what he did. Nadal was very rusty in Barcelona. He is playing more and more now. He has more stamina, and he's going to beat de Minaur. That was the statement prior to the de Minaur match. And Nadal did it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Moya's statement?
I love that we got to hear the statement and then talk about the actual result on this episode. And what it tells me is Moya's got some credibility, and we need to stay tuned and wait for his next big hot take or statement, because he's 1 for 1 in his last statement. So if he says something like, I guarantee a French Open semifinal, we need to watch out.
Yes.
We seriously do. So that's pretty cool. I think that the de Minaur win was a huge statement for Nadal moving forward. And it gives us a lot of belief that he really is going to show up to the French, and he is going to play Laver Cup. And he's not going to just be a fraction or shadow of himself trying to do an exit tour. He might be an actual threat to some players.
Yes.
And kind of reading between the lines, Moya's alluding to his level will get higher, his stamina will get better, and what we saw going wrong with him in the first Barcelona event was not necessarily that he's so hurt he can't play, but that he needs time.
Right. He you can see that he was fresher on court, and his tactics, he was able to put them together. So this is a pretty cool stat. In 2022, he was serving at top, average 116 miles an hour. Second serve 100 miles an hour. Forehand was 75 miles an hour, and backhand was 74 miles an hour. And that's when he won the Australian Open and the French, if I'm not mistaken. This year, 112 mile an hour, so it's 4 miles slower. Second serve is 95 on average, 5 miles slower. Forehand is 73, 2 miles slower. And backhand is 71, 3 miles slower. What are your thoughts on those stats?
I mean, they all line up with what we're seeing, which is his shots are less penetrating. He's not serving as big. And I think that reading into those stats too heavily is definitely misleading, because I think that number will trickle and grow if he is rusty and fatigued. I think that the serve will get a little bigger. I think the forehand, the confidence will go up. And we also know a low confidence Nadal uses more spin, which takes away miles per hour. So as his confidence builds up more, he'll hit bigger. So I'm actually a little impressed that that's the only amount it's dipped down.
Yes, it's not that much.
4 or 5 miles that's not bad.
Right.
That like I kind of said prior, he still can beat people outside the top 10, 15 pretty casually. So if he's able to get back to those numbers and it's only 5 miles per hour at most on any particular shot or stroke, we're looking good if you're a Nadal fan.
When he beat de Minaur, his placement on the serve was much better.
Yeah.
And he was able to hit that 1-2 serve with the forehand. When he played him in Barcelona, he wasn't able to do that. With the Argentinian that wanted his jersey or whatever, a souvenir, he played him well as well. You can tell that he sort of conserved some energy in that second set, though. You could see that. Against Yuri Lehecka, Lehecka played his match of his life, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
He ripped balls, corners. Nadal had opportunities to play first strike tennis, and he decided not to, and Lehecka punished him for that.
Yeah.
So I think Nadal's playing pretty okay.
And Lehecka served bombs.
Right.
Lehecka served crazy. I think he was clocking like 140 on a regular basis. So, and that's on clay.
Yes.
That's huge on clay. So, I think it was a respectable loss for Nadal.
Yes, I agree.
I think he leaves this tournament with his head held super high. He accomplished the goals that him and his team set out for, and I have no complaints with his results.
Now, Nadal made a very interesting statement. He said, 3 weeks ago, I was losing to every kid at my academy, and now I'm competing again against the players from the ATP circuit and winning matches. Do you think that he was really losing to kids from his academy?
Is this like a commercial or something? What's he trying to say with that statement? You know what? I think that he might be talking about like tiebreakers, mini games, baseline games, something like that. I don't think that. And here's another thing. Obviously, I'm not a pro tennis player, but I know a thing or two. You know, I keep up with the tour. I know people who play much better tennis than I do. And I can tell you this. A player who is match sharp in season, on tour, playing with competitive edge, and that same player 6 months out hasn't played a competitive professional match or whatever level they do play at, those are two different people. If you catch a collegiate athlete out of season during their off, like maybe 4 months into their off season, go ahead and knock their UTR rating down about 2 points. You know, it's just what it is. I think that it's something very similar with Nadal. I think that his level was just significantly lower because he's not match sharp. And if you want to be match sharp, you have to play the matches that you want to perform the level of. So that's why pros play tune-up events. You know, you need to get match sharp. And I actually kind of believe him. I don't think that he was the Nadal we're seeing right now. And I also don't think that he was on the court with the intent to kill when he's playing with his students. So it's a loaded statement, but I think it's a factual one.
So I guess Darwin Blatt should have played him 3 weeks ago then, and then Darwin would have beat him then.
That would have helped.
I see.
Yeah, big time.
All right, so now we're going to get to Pedro. He's the guy that asked Nadal for a shirt. Mm-hmm. Obviously, on X, everybody was saying, asking your opponent for a shirt isn't it. That ain't it. Kyrgios came to the defense of this guy.
Of course he did, because he's an NBA fan.
Yes, he said, I'm going to read it, doesn't agree, and he wasn't afraid to take a swipe at... Okay, so, sorry. He replied, why? NBA players, soccer players, Argentinians, that's what they do.
Yeah.
It's a memory and experience that took a lifetime of work, and that is less than 1% of humans get to. Mm-hmm. Fans wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Kyrgios?
1,000%. We've seen jersey swaps. We've seen jersey requests. And we also acknowledge that that jersey resembles something very special. Yeah, fans won't get it. And look, I've been in situations that are 1/1000th of the importance of anything a pro tennis player has done in sporting events. And I'll never forget those memories ever. And there is a part of me that goes, man, I wish I still had the shirt I played in, or me and my opponent did like jersey swaps or something, and just acknowledge that we made it to a tournament final, whether we won or lost, and things like that. I guarantee you, if I played Nadal in a match, I'm asking for his shoes, his socks, his hat. That's probably an exaggeration, but yeah, this is pathetic. If you think anything less than that, that's an awesome gesture that Nadal did it and that player asked for it, because that's probably going to be that's the last time he'll ever play Nadal.
Right.
Unless you're Alex de Minaur, where you play back-to-back on the Nadal's return. But otherwise, yeah, I have deep respect for what he did. And, I mean, as we just stated, we've seen boxers exchange gloves. NBA players swap jerseys. Soccer players swap jerseys.
Especially Argentinians, they do that all the time.
This is ritual. This is normal. So, great sportsmanship from Nadal and him. Great job.
Yes, I agree. So, speaking of Kyrgios, before I read more Nadal, he's seen hitting some balls, and he was actually doing a ball exercise, throwing it against the wall, and then he was saying, tennis exercise. Do you think he's coming back? Do you think he's prepping for Wimbledon?
I would be very surprised if he shows up to Wimbledon, but I do think he's planning to make a comeback, and from my understanding, I don't remember where I read this, but I believe it's this year.
Yes.
So it would make sense. It all lines up.
Yes, and going on to Nadal again, he said to Alcaraz, if my body is up to it, if I'm okay playing, you don't need to ask me to play in the Olympics. We're going to play in the Olympics. As a matter of fact, I would like to play a tournament with you prior to the Olympics to see how we do as a team.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Consider those tickets sold out. Nadal's farewell tour, doing it with tennis's biggest current star, and them playing doubles together right before the Olympics. Money in the bank for whatever tournament they play in. Whatever tournament that is, they might even seed them. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I love that Nadal is hell-bent on really kind of passing the torch.
Yes.
So yeah, I look forward to it.
Yes, I think they would be a very good team as long as both of them are able to play.
Yeah.
Nadal has hands.
Yeah, he does.
People don't see it, but he has very good hands, so he'll be able to get stuff off, pick stuff off.
Yeah.
And Alcaraz's kick serve is going to set him up. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. So the last statement Nadal made is, he said, I'm going to Rome, hoping to get better. After Rome, I will decide about Roland Garros. What do you think about him playing Rome? Do you think it's too much?
I think it's a little unnecessary. I hope that he goes into Rome and maybe has an early exit, and we see him at Roland Garros. I also think that Nadal is the king of, I don't know if I could beat this guy, ranked 225 in the world, and then going and steamrolling the guy 6'2", 6'1", so I don't take what he says too seriously when he undermines things and makes things sound unlikely, because he usually makes it happen. He was just talking about how his body may not hold up for this and he can't do that, and then he goes to the third round. You
Right.
know, so I think that it really is just all based on his physical health, and that's why I'm leaning towards hoping he has an early exit at Rome.
Yes, I agree. I'm actually shocked that he is playing in Italy. And to me, that is a lot. But if he's trying to get match tough, I can understand.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm shocked that he did that.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, we're going to talk about the French Open and their amenities. So, Susan Longlong will feature a new retractable roof. So that's pretty cool.
That's nice.
Yes. Brand new furniture for the main courts.
Okay.
An additional 11th night session on Sunday, May 26th.
So they want Nadal to show up and play for sure.
Yes, exactly. The French Tennis Walk of Fame honors its champions.
Nadal.
Yeah, so there's going to be a Walk of Fame honoring their champions.
Yeah.
And then lastly, total prize money, 7% increase compared to last year.
Wow.
So this is all brand new.
That's a big increase.
What
for
do you think of that?
All really great news. It's cool to hear that Roland Garros is still growing, and they're doing it aggressively. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this event. It just seems hard to believe that Nadal won't be there. And the way they're making all these aggressive moves, it sounds like they're anticipating him showing up and
Right.
selling that thing out.
Yes.
So this reinforces my thoughts that Rafael Nadal will be at Roland Garros at least for one round.
Yes,
So
at least.
So yeah, that's pretty cool to hear. I love the prize money increase. I even love the new furniture. I want to see it.
Oh, yes.
The retractable roof, that's great news because we know with rain and stuff like
Yeah, it
that
rains
what
a
can
lot.
happen. So
Yes.
so yeah, this is all good news. I look forward to it.
Yes, and now I keep saying funny part, but it is very interesting. Emily Maresmo said, "We have not talked about seeding Nadal. That's not on the table right now." But here's where it gets interesting. You know, Wimbledon, when they do their guerrilla math and they seed their players fit, Nadal went against that. And now
He's quiet, huh?
he's quiet.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think he's calculatedly quiet in not contradicting himself. It's funny that he was vocal about it prior, but I think it was because it did impact his draws.
Yes.
And I think in this situation he's going, look, I've expressed how I feel about it. I'm not gonna fight my own. I'm not gonna block my own blessings, is the best way to put it. So I like the move. I like the silence. There's wisdom in silence. And I don't think he's gonna get seated. But if he does, I guarantee you he won't be declining it and he won't be taking responsibility for it.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Do we have time for the subject, or are we short on time?
We're a little short on time.
All right. In that case, I hope you guys were entertained.
Adios, ATP.
See you next week.